Hey everybody, Scott Zano from the Scott Zano Realty Group, coming back at you one more time. So we just had a very successful closing where we represented the seller and we represented the buyer on one of our listing properties. The reason for this video is I wanted to go over a piece of paper that we needed to kind of secure and push this closing along. It's called a use and occupancy agreement. Very important piece of paper. What happened was the buyer had a snafu on the selling of their property up in a different state. And a homeowner's insurance policy had come in a little late, and it threw off the closing date. And the closing was on a Friday. We generally don't like to close on Fridays, but in this particular instance, the buyer insisted on closing on Thursday, and then on his property in a different state, and then closing on the Cape property on Friday. Well, that didn't happen. They did close on their property in a different state. However, the truck was full of their home furnishings, and if the closing wasn't going to occur on Friday, where are they going to go? Where are they going to sleep? Where are they going to put all their stuff? So these are things that we come across periodically as real estate agents. We're problem solvers, right? And so we had to think quickly on our feet. And so like I said, I was representing the seller. And so I spoke to the seller and I said, hey, this deal can still close, but, we need a few more days. And how do you feel about doing a use and occupancy permit? And she agreed to it, which was totally awesome because some sellers don't. So I just want to go over the use and the occupancy agreement with you, just to share this information on how sometimes a little snafu just coming up right at the last day or two of the closing, and how things can kind of go a little south, but we got to keep the train on the track, right? So use and occupancy agreement is generally written up by the seller's attorney, which he did. And I'm going to share it with you just so you have a good grip of what's going on here and how we made this transaction stay together and close a couple days later. Without this use and occupancy agreement, the buyers would have had no place to stay, no place to put their furniture. They would have had to maybe put it in storage. It could have really been a very ugly situation, but we were able to secure the use and occupancy agreement. So I wanted to share it with you. So the use and occupancy agreement is made between the seller and the buyer, right? It also states the day that the occupancy agreement is good to move in, which in this case was the day that they closed on their other property off Cape, which was a Thursday. So they lived in the house Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The occupancy agreement was good until last night at 5 o'clock, and now here we are today closing, which we did successfully. So you want to make sure that there's dates on there when you move in and when it's good till. Couple things noted on here is the buyer agreed to indemnify and hold the seller harmless from any and all claims, causes of action, or any liability. All right. The buyer also understood and acknowledges and agreed that the buyer's personal property located at the premises during the term of the use and occupancy should be at the buyer's sole risk. Okay, so if someone stole furniture, or God forbid there was a fire or something, that's all on the buyer. The buyer and seller agree that the relationship between the parties shall not be a relation of landlord and tenant. So just by giving them this use and occupancy agreement does not mean they now become a tenant. Okay, that's important. And then number 5 was the buyer should be responsible for all the utilities during their use and occupancy of the property. Buyer should keep the property in clean condition, shall be responsible for proper storage and disposal of any rubbish. And number 6 was buyer shall be responsible for any damages or loss to the premises that occurred during the term of buyer occupancy. So should something have gone haywire, it's all on the buyer. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, real estate is a beautiful thing, and we love what we do. We love serving all of our clients and helping everybody, but sometimes things don't always go as planned. And, you know, that's why, you know, I always say, you know, we're problem solvers, and we just happen to be selling real estate because that's what we do. We put sellers and buyers together, and if there's any problems along the way, we solve those problems. And this use and occupancy agreement that I had here today for my buyers was a huge weight off their back. Moving from one state as another to another is hard enough. Never mind not knowing where to put all your stuff and where you're going to stay for 4 days in the middle of summer on Cape Cod, right? So use and occupancy agreement, they're great. Have it drawn up by the seller's attorney. The buyer's attorney will look at it and make sure that the verbiage is correct. Have the buyer and the seller sign it, and you're good to go. And we want to thank you so much for watching this last video on use and occupancy agreement. If there's anything that we can do to help, our door is always open. We love doing these videos and sharing this information with you. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about, and I just felt it was kind of important to share this with you guys. I know I'm being a little long-winded, but it's a really important piece of paper here. This really was the glue on this closing that came down to the wire and happened to close on a Friday, and the Registry of Deeds is closes on the weekend, and there was no place for these people to go. So we made it work out. Everything was fine. Thank you so much. Give us a call, 508-566-0051. Shoot me an email at sjzano@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.